Good afternoon, everyone. As Beatrice said, I'm Celissa Anthony, and I'm the admissions coordinator for the Division for Prospective Students, Admission and Selection. My division is concerned with processing all applications for health sciences. We make sure that all the information is received. We make sure that the selection and admission committees convene at the right time. We also make sure that all the information is sent through to all students, and we also inform them as soon as the results are available. Now you've heard from, there's my contact details in case you need to contact me after the session. I know Professor Buch and I think some of the speakers have already touched on some of the things that I want to discuss. But for the sake of people that maybe came late, or if you missed something, I'm going to repeat some of the information if you don't mind, so please just bear with me. Now, a lot of the speakers have actually told you about the profession, what medicine and dentist professionals do. But in order to be one of those professionals, there's just one important step that you still need to take in order to be there, and that is to be selected as a student, which can be very stressful because, as you know, not everyone that do apply are selected for a health science degree. Just some information, last year for medicine alone, we received over 5,000 applications, of which we can only accommodate 300 students. So if you can just imagine, it's really a daunting task to at least try and select the best learners to start with a health science discipline, or with medicine or dentistry or any of the disciplines offered in our faculty. A few things to note. Closing date 31st of May. Beatrice has already informed you that you can apply online. We would suggest that you apply online because that it will go quicker, and you are assured that your application will be processed and will be considered. Admissions timetable, I'm not going to talk a lot of the admission requirements that you need to have. It is available in your booklets that you have. But these are the tables that you need to make note of. Because if you do not comply with the minimum requirements as it is in our admission table, you will not be considered. But I don't think you guys have a problem, because you wouldn't be sitting here if you did not comply with the minimum requirements. Okay, when you apply, you will be considered based on your final grade 11 marks. And I cannot stress that enough. Grade 11 marks are as important as your final matric marks, because your grade 11 marks are the marks that's going to determine whether you are placed for medicine or any health science discipline in the faculty. So with your application, you need to make sure that you submit a copy of your final grade 11 report, copy of your ID, and a copy of your proof of payment. Now, what is important, everyone wants to know how the selection is done. Okay, there are three factors that are taken into consideration. The first would be your final grade 11 marks. And what we do with your results, we use the sum of 6 subjects that we calculate to get an average. And that's the average that we are going to also ultimately use to calculate your final merit score. So according to the admission table, just see what the required subjects are. Most of the subjects would be English, mathematics, and physical science, and then we'll take the best of the other 3 subjects. Life orientation, add maths are not calculated when we calculate your average. The second important factor is the NBT. NBT, very important. It's compulsory. If you do not write the national benchmark test, you will not be considered for any of the degrees within the health science faculty. Now, there are 8 opportunities for learners to write the national benchmark test. You have to go on the NBT website and you register for a test that is convenient for you. Just some advice, if you can, try to write the latest test as possible. The latest date that health science students can write the national benchmark test is the 5th of July. The first, they start with the test on the 24th of May, but we would advise health science learners to write the later test or when it's convenient. But just remember that you cannot write the test later than 5 July, otherwise we're not going to receive the results in time for you to be considered in August. After you've written the test, the results will be sent to the university where you have applied, so you do not need to send the results through to us. We will make sure that all the students that apply to the university for a health science degree we will request the results directly from the National Benchmark Center. The third factor that's important for selection is the ValueAdded Questionnaire. Now this form is not yet available online. We are in the process, we've already designed a new form that we want to make available online for learners to complete. So once you've applied, we will inform you what the process will be, and we will also indicate where and when the ValueAdded Questionnaire will be available. The 4 things that we do look at on the ValueAdded Questionnaire would be things like leadership, sports achievement, cultural activities, and community service. I know the most common question that learners usually want to know is the amount of community service they must work. We do not prescribe a certain amount, but there is a minimum. You will see when you get your form, there is a minimum of 50 hours community service that you have to work, and that can be worked in any time from grade 11 or in grade 12. So if you've already started in grade 11, then I suppose you then have a head start with your number of hours. Okay, once we've received all the results, that is your grade 11 results, the national benchmark results, and after we've evaluated the ValueAdded Questionnaire, the 3 scores are then calculated into 1 merit score. And as Prof. Boeg also explained earlier, learners are then ranked according to that merit score from the highest to the lowest. We then make offers for the top group according to our intake. A number of students are also placed on our waiting list, and then of course we cannot put everyone on the waiting list. Students below a certain score will then be informed that they are not selected. If you are not selected as a matriculant in the first phase of the selection, there's a second option. You can apply, and if you're admitted for BSc Biological Sciences, you may reapply again in your first year of study for the second semester intake. So after you've enrolled for the BSc, we will then inform students when and where they can apply in the new year, and after the June exam results are available for students, we will then select the top 30 students from the BSc group to continue with medicine or dentistry in the second semester. The BSc option is only applicable to medicine and dentistry students, as the other disciplines, the subjects they do in the first semester are not similar to what the other disciplines do. Okay, these are the 6 subjects that you have to register for under the BSc, otherwise you will not be able to be considered. These subjects are the exact same subjects that our medicine and dentistry students do. Also note that during the first 6 months, all the medicine and dentistry students attend class on the Hatfield campus, and then from the second semester onwards, they are on the Prince campus until they finish their studies. Another option, if you were not fortunate enough to be admitted to the BSc 3-year program, if you select, or if you have been admitted to the BSc 4-year program, you can still be considered, but your application will only be considered in August for the 2016 selection. And the subjects that you do under the BSc 4-year program will not be credited, as those subjects are not the same as what the medicine and dentistry students do in the first 6 months. So if you are selected, you will then start as a first year in your following year. And that's basically how we do the selection. Are there any questions? Yes, all subjects are used for the calculation. As far as I know, most of the subjects are 20 credit subjects. The CAT is definitely calculated when we do our when we calculate our admission point score and the average. Okay, once you've downloaded the ValueAdded Questionnaire, you will be requested to submit proof that you have done community service with the ValueAdded Questionnaire. So you just, if you've received a letter from the hospital or the medical doctor where you've done your community service, that form you then just upload with the ValueAdded Questionnaire. Yes, all the documents must be scanned in. If you have that facilities, you scan it in and you upload it on the system. Okay, if you haven't done the payment yet, they are not going to activate the application if there's no proof of payment. So if after you've uploaded all the documents, just make sure that you make the payment and upload the fees, the proof of payment as soon as possible, so that they can then activate your application.
What reference number do we give on the first payment that we make if we don't have the student number?
I think use the ID number. ID number.
My school does not yet need a second check, so will we be penalized?
No, you will not be penalized. There's, I think, quite a lot of students where certain of these things, or like your leadership or head boy, head girl, prefect, where they do not have, that facilities. So you will not be penalized if you did not, if it's not offered in your school. The same with the sport. For sport, where you mostly get marks is if you really participate in a regional level, provincial, or a national level. But like I said, what is important is that you excel in your academics, which is your final grade 11 report and the national benchmark test.
Back to the community service, the 50 hours, we have to have it when we apply to university, or can we add to it as the year goes by?
There's a due date for that form to be in. So, and I think it's round about end of June. So as long as you submit all that information by the 30th of June, it will still be taken into consideration.
As far as application is concerned, if you now apply for medicine, your second choice will be the BSc Biological Science. Am I right?
Yes.
That's the only one.
Yes. One thing I should have just made clear, when you submit your application, very important, when you put medicine on as your first choice, you put BSc Biological Science on as your second choice immediately. Don't wait for us to do the selection in August and then only decide to add the BSc Biological Science, because when you contact them end of August, they might say, but the BSc is full. So for medicine and dentistry, indicate BSc Biological Science as your second choice.
You cannot indicate medical and the dentistry at the same time.
Medical in?
Dentistry.
No. Unfortunately, most of the courses only consider the health science disciplines as the first choice. So if you're going to put medicine as your first choice and dentistry as your second choice, you're not going to be considered for dentistry, because they do not consider second choices. I can't hear you. You'll just have to speak up. The NBT test, you write it when you're in grade 12. So if you're currently in grade 11, you do not have to write it now. The test is based on the grade 12 NSC curriculum. So it's no use for them to write it in grade 11, unless they want to, but it's not advisable. Let them rather write in grade 12. Whichever is convenient for the learner. Again, we don't prescribe whether it must be a public or private institution. It doesn't matter now.
So sorry, related to that question, is preferred community service hours related to being in a hospital in a medical environment, or going to CA because they come?
Community service can be done, does not necessarily have to be done at a hospital. It can be done at an old age home, or whichever other avenues there are available, but it doesn't have to be in a hospital. You'll see the form only makes provision for you to indicate whether you've done it in grade 11 or 12. Okay. Last question. Okay, the BSc Biological Science, the first year is generic, so basically students who's not sure what they want to do, or students that want to, in the case of medicine, transfer in the second semester. The first year is generic. So if you're not selected, you will have to then go to your faculty and apply there to transfer to any of the specialization fields within the faculty. So you don't have to complete the BSc Biological Science, but if you then decide to transfer, let's say, to a BSc Medical Science, you can still apply for medicine. You do not have to complete your degree before you can be reconsidered again.
Sorry, I just want to find out the NBT payments. How does that work? Can we book so long and then send proof of payment, or must we first pay? How does it work?
Okay, NBT, the NBT website address are in the brochures also. Learners must go on the NBT website and they have to register themselves for the test. The payments, that must be done at any easy pay point, but all that information is on there. If you go on the website, you'll get all that information, the different easy pay points, as well as the criteria or what information on what they will be assessed on. And also very important, you have to register for the test 3 weeks prior to writing the test. So don't wait for the last minute to go. And like I say, the first test is on the 21st of May. You do not have to write the first one in May, but make sure that you write the test at the latest 5th of July. If you still have any more questions, you're more than welcome to send me an email or give me a call. Thank you.